guys, welcome to my channel. Let's get crafting.
Now remember, today is a Friend Friday and there is a playlist link down below to all the people playing along to the DIY challenge. Our supplies today are going to be these items from the Dollar Tree. It's amazing how you can take just random things and put them together into something that is so farmhouse chic. Now we're going to be using a couple of these different signs, and you could use this plunger stick that is also from the Dollar Tree, and these little wood house signs or little arrow signs, however you want to look at them, and put them all together. But I'm going to change up my stick towards the end because I decided to go with a smaller stick and I wanted my box to be longer, and I'm going to show you in a minute how I did that. So what we're going to do first is we're going to measure out everything just like you saw me doing, cut out the tag and the ribbon because you don't want that, and then I'm going to use a Sharpie marker to make my cut line for how long I want my box to be and cut off the extra using my crafting knife. I'm just scoring it 2 times because this is made with a really thick, almost cardboard type material, and you're just going to snap off what you don't want. Now there will be a little bit of ribbage on the back side, but you won't even see that because that's going to be the bottom of what we're making today. Real quick announcement, the next DIY challenge is going to be on May 8th, where the playlist goes live at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now the theme for this DIY challenge is a free one. You all can make whatever you want. I want to see your creativity. Go with it. The sky is the limit. Have fun. Use the supplies that you have in your home. Don't feel like you have to go out and buy anything new. I cannot wait to see what you all make. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to those little signs that are either arrows or houses, however you want to look at them. I see houses. I don't see necessarily the arrows because I love that farmhouse look, and these can be used so many different ways, but they have 4 staples in them, and I'm going to be honest, they are a bit of a beast to pull out. So first you pull out all of the fibers from the twine, and then with your pliers you're going to twist to pull out those staples. After that, you're going to want to remove all the stickers from all of these signs. Sometimes they can be tricky to get off, so you can use some Goo Gone if you can't get them all the way off. And then here I am measuring out how wide it's going to allow to be, because you can see that the sign, the little house sign, is not going to be able to reach all the way across that red love sign from Valentine's Day that I had left over, since I'm crafting all my supplies and not going out to buy anything. I'm going to just cut that down one more time and make sure that my box is the right size for the base, because you don't want to have it look like, you know, you just missed the last couple little things that make it not look store-bought. So here I am scoring it again. I scored it twice, and now I'm just going to snap down, and those are going to pop off. You snap down first and then pull back up, and it should give you a pretty clean cut. And wherever there is some hangover, just take your scissors and snip off the extras. This part can be a little bit tricky, so just kind of wiggle your scissors around until you get off those little hangovers, or you can also use your craft knife to take that off. If you're playing along in the DIY challenge today, don't forget to go over on Instagram and tag #DIY challenge and tag me in it too, so I can give you a shout out on Instagram and we can be buddies over there and say hi to each other. Now at this point, everything should be cut down to size, and we're going to start assembling our cute box. So I'm going to take my drill that I have on hand, and you're not going to want to use super huge screws. You're going to want to use probably a little less than 1 inch to about 1 inch. You're going to want to make sure it goes all the way through so it holds together nice and strong, but nothing too long and crazy. And you're going to make sure that you are holding everything nice and firm into place. I did not glue anything because the screws are naturally going to want to pull the woods away from each other since you're going into it. You're going to see that they kind of like pull away and separate, and then when you keep applying pressure, it'll go back in. So just make sure that you don't even add hot glue at this point, because that's not necessary. It's going to do it anyway. And then once you've got the 2 screws on that one side, you're going to go over to the other side and do the same steps. Make sure you hold down firmly and screw into place, and please be cautious if you're doing this in your craft room. Keep your fingers away so you don't hurt your hands, and just take your time going in. It's not a rush. I really like to go really slow whenever I'm using my screws and my drill, because it's really easy to splinter your wood if you try to go too quick. Now normally I would drill holes. Because I'm going into such a thick piece of wood, I decided not to drill holes in this part, but you'll see me do it in just a minute on a more delicate part. Once you've got everything all drilled together on the base, you can go ahead and glue it onto your sign that says love. Put lots of hot glue so that it all holds into place, and then later on I'm going to show you where I staple gun that. You all have been seeing me use my staple gun a lot on this channel because, like I said, it's just a good one. Now, so you saw there where I could have used a plunger, but that would have required me to cut down my long blue sign that you see here on my base. I did not want to cut into that because those are a little bit trickier and harder to cut into. So I decided to use a smaller little dowel rod that I had that I've picked up a long time ago. I just picked up a whole bunch of these little, rods that from the Home Depot, and I just keep them on hand whenever I want to use them. But if you do want to use that plunger stick and have a thicker handle, you totally could. You just have to cut down your blue sign just a little bit more to be able to accommodate that size from the stick. So here I am using my miter box and my hacksaw, and I'm just cutting down what I need, and I'm going to double check it to make sure it's the right size. And you can see here that at this point I've switched over to a drill. You want to make sure your drill bit is the same width as your screw, so you can see that I'm lining it up and checking it. And then you also want to make sure you don't drill in too far, because that's just not necessary to do it that way. So here I am, I'm taking my drill bit and I'm just going to go really slow, as center as I can in that rod that we have, and you're going to drill in and then drill out, and you're going to do this on both sides. And you're doing this so that the wood doesn't splinter and crack on you, because when you're drilling into things that are small like this, that is a big possibility for that to happen. Then I'm going to also drill into my sign to make sure that I don't have any problems with it splitting there either, because it's going to take a lot of force at this point to be able to drill this rod into the top part, and we just want to be delicate. We've done a lot of work at this point and we don't want to ruin it. So you can see here that I already started the screw first into the sign that looks like a house, and then I put my rod, and now I'm screwing into each other, these two items. And the trick about it is that you want to make sure you're holding the rod. It's going to want to spin. Make sure you hold the rod and keep screwing and screwing and screwing, and keep adding that pressure. The first one's a little bit trickier, the second one's a little bit easier, and then when you get to the end, you just lay it on its side and drill in to nice and tighten and snug up those screws on the ends. So here it is, all assembled and super cute, ready to decorate. Now, if you're new to my channel and you're coming over from the playlist, I would love it if you join my channel. I have two different channels, my Heidi Sonboul DIY and my Heidi Sonboul Home. I'll link those channels at the end. Now we're going to decorate our box. I decided to go with this really pretty green. If you've noticed here this week, I have just been loving on green for some reason. I think it's just because I'm thinking about summer and the grass and the trees blooming and growing. So I spray painted it this really pretty green color. And now I'm going to go in and handwrite on with a pencil a couple of things where I thought it would be cute to do fresh cut flowers. And I'm just freehanding it, like you can see here. I'm going with a nice block chunky letter, and I'm taking my time doing it. You can see where I'm erasing it and adding things back in, and just keep playing with it until I like the look of it. There was one point where I felt like, ooh, it was a little too squished, and so I erased again, and then I moved it over again and erased again. And this is what I tell people whenever I'm doing this free hand painting and I'm not using a Cricut or a Silhouette with vinyl, is that you just keep playing with it until you like the results and the look. So once I got everything all sketched on like I liked, I went ahead with a very small fine tip brush, and then my cap from my paint. I always like to put paint inside my cap because I just feel like you can get better control. I don't know, this is probably not a thing for anybody else, but I just like working out of my paint caps whenever I'm painting letters. So here I am, I'm just taking my time, making them look nice and chunky. I really liked the way that that looked. I thought that was really pretty. And then going all the way across, and you can see that I'm going from right to left. If you're left-handed, then, you know, just make sure you take your time because you don't want to smudge your paint as you go. I have a son who's left-handed, and so I know that that's a real thing out there for the left-handed people. But just take your time and make sure that everything is nice and dry before we're going to move on to the next step. So at this point, I thought it looked really cute and it just needed a little bit more, so I put in these little dashes to make sure that you could see what it actually said. Now I'm taking some sandpaper and I am just roughing it up because I want it to look old and distressed with that farmhouse look. And once it gets to a point that I like it, I'm going to take some brown paint and I'm going to dry brush on brown paint all over it so it looks like it's been sitting out in maybe a garden shed or even outside on a back porch. And we're going to just rough it up. So dry brushing, if you are new here and you haven't seen me do this, is you're going to put a very small light amount of paint on a brush and you are going to just keep tapping it in and tapping on your napkin if you have too much, and just lightly dry brushing over the top. We're not adding any water to the paint, and we just constantly just keep adding. Now at this point I'm going to move on to dry brushing the top and the sides because again, we really want to distress that look and make it look really pretty and old like farmhouse decor would be. And if you get too much, you can always go in with a wipey or a little damp cloth and wipe some off because this paint is really applicable at this point. Once you've got it all distressed, you're going to go ahead and take your staple gun and just secure the bottom. If you notice that there's any parts that are pulling back from the hot glue and working with it, add some more hot glue in those little spots and then staple it so it's nice and secure. Now we're going to go ahead and decorate the inside. I picked up these different florals. These long white ones are from Hobby Lobby, but everything else is from the Dollar Tree. I love all their different florals at the Dollar Tree. I talk about them a lot here on my channel. And then I found these votive candle glass holders. They are a pack of 3 and I thought these were so perfect to fit inside of our fresh cut flowers flower box. And I'm just cutting apart the flowers and just working them into how I think looks pretty. Now sometimes some of the stems don't want to go into these foam squares that I've inserted from the Dollar Tree that I cut down to size to fit in these little glass containers. So sometimes I like to take usually like my pliers or a butter knife or something, and or my scissors, and I like to poke holes and then add hot glue with my flowers down in there so that they're nice and secure and I don't have to fight through that foam to get my flowers to fit. But I'm basically just going with a green and white mix of florals to make it look very spring and pretty and just fresh that you can use all year long in your home. So I'm just playing around with it, adding in different heights, adding in different textures. I like to use a couple different types of greenery and a couple different types of white flowers because it really makes it look more like a fresh, real live garden. So once you've got all of your flowers in there and you like the way it looks, just do a little bit of zhuzhing and you are set to display this somewhere in your home. Leave a comment down below to let me know what you thought of my project today, if you think you'll try it, and don't forget to go and check out the playlist that's down below.
Until the next episode, bye friends.